Blizzard fixed their mistake. Well, kind of. Hello everybody, I am Jmulls of Jmulls Gaming, and let's talk World of Warcraft, The War Within. Not too long ago, we had the release of 11.07 with the SIren Isle. A new little island bringing with it some new mounts, new transmog, little bit of story, and the new ring, Circe's Circlet. A high item level ring where you could slot in various gems called citrines here to customize the effects that the ring would have. It was meant to be a powerful ring that would carry you into Season 2, but it was met with a bit of controversy when it came out because of time gating, which they have since rectified. Thumbs up to Blizzard for that one. Shouldn't have happened in the first place, but the citrines, at least to my knowledge, are no longer time gated. So at this point, we are left with the SIren Isle and now the ring. And I'll be honest, I really like the SIren Isle. It's no Thunder Isle from Missa Pandaria or like Timeless Isle or anything like that, but it's also a 0.07 patch. I'm not expecting the moon here. Just something small scale and nice to tide me over until Undermined comes out. And I think in that regard, I am extremely satisfied with the SIren Isle. As a returning player to WoW who has not really played all that much since the days of Shadowlands, SIren Isle doesn't do that much, but what it does do, it does well, while also bringing to the table some interesting ideas like the Storm Cycle, where you can elect to go into an altered phase of the SIren Isle with tougher enemies and new things to discover and experience. I love the storytelling on the SIren Isle, putting all the pieces of the puzzle together about what happened to Circe and her Vrykul group, alongside Thraeir, and uncovering how to unlock that mount, grinding it out, all the transmog, the pets, the new mounts and stuff like that. Really cool, and I love that element to the SIren Isle. It always feels as if every time I do another deep dive into the island and do some exploring, I find something new to appreciate about it. And in that regard, it has far exceeded my expectations. However, with how much I've been enjoying the SIren Isle and unlocking Thraeir, the Eyes of the Siren mount, learning the story, getting the transmog stuff I like, there's been one kind of glaring flaw. Outside of the initial time gating for the citrines of the ring, Circe's Circlet, the ring itself is, in my opinion, rather dull. And I think it's a good moment in time just to take stock about what happened with this ring, and why to me, I view it to be rather a letdown. This is not a video to debate the numbers of the ring and what it can put out. This, to me, the bigger issue here is from a fun perspective. The ring by itself is pretty much just a stat stick for stamina, and the power you gain from the ring comes from the citrines you slot into the thing. The problem I run into is that the citrines themselves are rather dull and boring, and they don't really do much that I notice on a frequent basis. I kind of just slot them in and then immediately forget. There's 3 different colored slots on the ring, and to give you an idea about what I mean, these are the citrines that I have on my character, my Death Knight. Stormbringer's Rune Citrine, which grants me 612 of every secondary stat. That number can change, but again, I mean, some extra haste is cool, and mastery can be nice depending on the spec, but it's just a passive bonus that for the most part I'm not going to particularly notice all that much. Then I have Fathom Dweller's Runed Citrine. Grants me a bunch of mastery. Again, same kind of issue. For some specs, maybe mastery is a bit more noticeable, but on my Unholy Death Knight, it just makes shadow damage and minions hit harder. I'm not going to notice that unless I'm like tunnel visioning my damage meter. And then for my 3rd slot, I have Legendary Skipper's Citrine. Your spells and abilities have a chance to cast a random singing citrine effect at 150% effectiveness. Again, more of what we just covered. There's some citrines that have interesting visual effects, maybe, such as Seabed Leviathan Citrine, which grants a bunch of stamina and increases your size slightly, and besides being every man's dream, in addition, being above 80% health causes attackers to take some frost damage. Probably the most interesting sounding one so far, but it's just a bunch of stamina, so. The extra size though, cool. This one is more in line with what I would like to see. Your spells and abilities have a chance to slice 5 enemies with a rushing sea breeze, dealing a bunch of nature damage to each of them. I believe I used to rock this one before I got the other ones that I now use, and I never really noticed it all that much, but I want you to remember that one and bear it in mind for what I'm about to talk about. Last one I have is Storm Sewer's Citrine, where my spells and abilities have a chance to shield an ally with lightning, absorbing the next bunch of damage taken for 10 seconds. While the shield persists, resists, attackers take 10% of the amount absorbed as nature damage. That one's okay sounding as well, but it's not really leaning into how cool and creative this ring could possibly have been, that I would wish that they did. And going into the future, if they're going to do something along these lines with Circe's Circlet or something similar in the future, I would petition Blizzard to have way more fun with it and really lean into the lore and the story surrounding the citrine, because for a couple of those, they kind of did. Summoning a bunch of, like, slicing wind, okay. Really reliant on the animation there, though. Or creating a lightning shield could be cool, but I think there's ways to make the ring just far more cooler and memorable. Because the ring, bear this in mind, the ring is at least meant to be powerful, and a little bit customizable with which citrines you slot into your Circe's Circlet. And while a lot of those citrines felt rather bland and boring and eye-rolly, the lore for the ring on the island is anything but. You have numerous factions all trying to battle it out, even bearing witness to the memories of these ancient battles, all in the name of acquiring this ring, because it's supposed to be so powerful. And it's tied to this character Circe, who is supposed to be a massive badass. And then these are the effects that the ring actually has. Again, numbers are irrelevant to the point I'm trying to make. The ring should feel that powerful and should feel that cool and worthy of all the hype they generate and garner for this ring on the island. And I think if they had some abilities or some citrines more in the line of, say, being able to summon a bunch of ancient Vrykul warrior spirits to fight at your side in service of the ring, or on Naga weeks, because the SIren Isle does swap over what mobs are present on the island depending upon the week or the phase it's in. If it's the Naga phase, you could swap the summons to Naga. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? You could have a very special citrine that you could really hunt down and collect in order to summon Circe herself. Maybe she could have a few extra special abilities to really make her presence known and build on this mythos you're trying to establish with the SIren Isle. Perhaps another citrine could be summoning in Thraia, the bird mount that you're able to scavenge for various rune keys to free. But with a certain citrine, maybe you could summon in his spirit, or if you unlock the mount, him properly, and he could come in doing a bunch of storm AoEs, because that's kind of his big thing, is that he's the guy that created the storm. He's very loyal to Circe and now you for freeing him and for acquiring all the rune keys. Have him come in, bring down a bunch of lightning on enemies, creating a storm AoE. That way when it procs, or when you could maybe activate it yourself, it felt cool and satisfying and reminds you of the story of the SIren Isle. You could also do another one where maybe you summon in like an ancient Vrykul ship spirit above you, and then you could have the dead sailor's memories chuck spears from the side of it, or fire various cannons, stuff like that. Have fun with it, be creative. And you may be going, Jmulls, that could be a nightmare to balance. Well, you can just tune the numbers around, but I think when it comes to rings and items like this, especially when you are trying so well at constructing lore and backstory for this brand new item, it needs to feel viscerally satisfying and cool when you use it. Because in its current iteration, yeah, some of the citrines are okay, but none of them are particularly memorable or adrenaline pumping as they could be. Also, it's a .07 patch. Dude, at this point, who actually cares about the balance? We're about to have Undermined and all the wacky crap we're gonna get there. We're at the butt end of, like, Season 1, where a lot of people are already checked out. If you have a ring that's really cool and fun, that could garner at least a bit of excitement and be a great reward for people who really chose to dive in and give this new zone a chance and try to uncover all the secrets and the environmental storytelling they tried to create and weave with the SIren Isle, because those elements I think really work, and I would love to see them revisit that style of storytelling again in the future, because I think it really works. Especially if you have some add-ons like dialogue UI and stuff like that to really help immerse yourself in what's going on. But it's also an MMORPG at the end of the day, and in an MMORPG, rewards are king. And if you want to drive home everything and make it truly memorable, you have to have something badass on the other side of it. Thraia as the mount? Great choice. being able to raise a Snapdragon from pretty much infancy. It's a grind, but I liked it. They've done that before, but again, kind of works for me. I like it. Visually is nothing special, but I love the lightning bird. I love Threya. And I loved how many secrets, at least it felt like, were there on the SIren Isle. And I want to make this abundantly clear. I adore the SIren Isle. It's not the best thing they ever made, but for something meant to just tide us over until 11.1, I think it not only hits the mark, it signs the bill. It's doing a salute. It's short and sweet, but it's to the point, and it does what it's supposed to do well. And you can take it extremely surface level, just go in, get your ring, grind out a few mobs, and leave. Bob's your uncle. If it's not your cup of tea, you don't have to spend that much time in there. But if you want to really stop and smell the roses, there's a lot you can do. It's not meant to, like, last months and months and months, but for something that in an expansion's time, I don't think a lot of people will remember all that much, I think it could help to extend the longevity of that memory if you had a really, really cool ring that Cersei's circlet could have been. So yeah, I would petition Blizzard to be willing to have way more creativity and fun when it comes to the rewards, and especially when it comes to stuff like Cersei's circlet. Because the stuff I recommended pretty much boils down, in a gameplay sort of way, just a bunch of damage that gets thrown out. You can balance around that. You can either raise the number or lower it depending upon what you need and what the numbers turn out to be. But WoW is a video game. It's not just a spreadsheet, and you have to embrace that element of the game, in my opinion, because it's design philosophy like this that can make or break certain things that may come into the game later down the line. And it's a design philosophy I would love to see Blizzard shift going into the future, because if we ever do something like the SIren Isle again, that would be a great opportunity to take the lessons learned from the SIren Isle and do them better. So with that, I think I'll call the video there for the day. Thank you all for tuning in. My pleasure for making the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. It'd really help the channel out and help support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. Stay safe. Have a great day. Leave a comment down below with how you have been enjoying the SIren Isle. What would you have liked to see change the most? What do you enjoy the most? Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts and hear your opinions and hear your perspectives. Stay safe. Have a great day. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again.